So, every Formula One fan knows that one of the main reasons that Max Verstappen fully deserved for all of the rules of the sport to be broken to hand him the 2021 Formula One World Championship was that Lewis Hamilton went off the track and he would have had to have given that place back on that first lap. So I'm going to do an analysis of him going off the track and therefore why he actually should have given that place back. And had he had done so, things could have turned out a whole lot differently anyway. I mean, it might have even rewound the clock completely and resulted in Max Verstappen not even sustaining a 51G impact. So let's have a look at when a driver goes off the track and has to give that place back. Here we go. Let's have a look. Race start. Well, it should be starting now. Bit of slow-mo. Here we go. The excitement is palpable. Here we go. They're on the grid. Lewis Hamilton, as we know, gets a great start, even though he's starting from second. And you can see the speed that they're accelerating at. It's absolutely incredible, the speed of acceleration of these Formula One cars. Stay on the edge of your seat. It's really gripping stuff. Anyway, they're entering the first part of the lap. And we know that, Max Verstappen likes a late lunge. And we're just about to see what's going on here. Oh, we're seeing a car go off the track. He has to give that place back. He has to give that place back. Surely, let me have. Oh, that can't be, can it? Let's just check. Let's just check. Race start. Somebody gets a better launch off the line. Okay. Maybe the traction control's not working. Maybe what that trick and asymmetric braking device does, whatever that does, maybe that didn't work that well that day. Who knows? Max's stabilisers weren't working. So we're going into the first turn. There's a car on the outside, car on the inside. Did he hit the apex? Oh, he hit the curbing. Let's have a look here. Oh, is he leaving track room on the outside? Yeah. But does the car on the outside stay on the track? Let's have a look. No, he doesn't. He has to give that place back. He has to give that place back. Now, we know what the commentators will say about that because they're fair commentators. They do have a bit of British bias. So therefore, you can't always trust that they're going to be fair to Max Verstappen, are they? So let's just check what the commentators said about this incident here.
Oh, and there, Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton almost coming together. Hamilton has to go off the track. The Dutch fans roaring in the background. Lewis Hamilton in the lead, but will he have to give out the place?
Yes, of course he will. But the problem he's got is Perez is right on Verstappen's tail.
He has to give that back.
Verstappen wants that place back, and he wants that place back right now.
What Max should do is back up a little bit and make sure Perez is right on his gearbox for when Lewis inevitably has to give that place back. Verstappen had to do that lunge.
So behind them, the lunge was on with Norris and Sainz and Leclerc. Sainz in fourth, Norris fifth, Leclerc in sixth. Out in front, Hamilton still has the lead from Max Verstappen, from Sergio Perez. And at the end of lap one, Hamilton's advantage over Verstappen is 1.1 seconds.
Push me off track.
Yeah, copy. We're happy with the gap that you've reinstated.
Oh, well, so Mercedes then tactic here is, okay, you haven't gained a lasting advantage. So the stewards will be looking at that. You've re-established the gap. Not quite sure I can see that. You re-established the gap that you had before you went off. Well, they were side by side when they went off.
We did wonder whether the stewards would need to get involved this weekend by courtesy of that moment down at turn 7. Surely they need to get involved to make a decision one way or another. But it's Hamilton out in front. Will he have to give the place back, or will he keep the lead?
I think that's clear cut for me anyway, but we're talking team play here with Red Bull second and third. Valtteri Bottas has now dropped down to 8th place.
He was having an early battle, wasn't he, with Yuki Tsunoda. Tsunoda's got ahead of him. Bottas not in play to help his teammate, who's going to have to try and win this the hard way. Now, this the run down. Verstappen a long way back, lunges into the apex. They do touch, and Hamilton has to take to the escape road. Did Verstappen lunge correctly and fairly? Will the stewards rule in Verstappen's favour there, or was that an opportunist move that was never, ever going to be on? Will they decide that way?
It was late, but the door was open and Max stayed on the racetrack.
No investigation necessary.
He didn't stay on the racetrack, Martin. I clearly showed you that he was off the racetrack. Surely you would have had to give that place back.
Say the stewards. Derek Warwick, former Grand Prix racer Gary.
Oh, the stewards say no investigation necessary. I thought they'd give him a 10-second penalty for that. Give him a 10-second penalty with him already have lost a place. You know, lost the lead and had Charles Leclerc overtaken him, and hit him with a 10-second penalty as well.
Connolly, very experienced steward. Felix Holter completing that particular trio. They've got bags of experience in the steward's room, and they've decided no investigation necessary. Well, it's...
No, they weren't going to investigate that one. They already got in mind what they were going to do at the end of the race on this one.
It's like Brazil, turn 4. There was no investigation necessary that day either.
That's the card they played, and so we're back.
No investigation necessary when Max runs Lewis into downtown Sao Paulo or whatever it is.
As we were then, 1.4 seconds behind Max Verstappen. Red Bull, I think, will be on the blower to race control to question that one. But that's, with all of the information they've got available to them, what they see, the different camera angles, there we go.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
So, I've just seen it again. Max is ahead at the apex.
Jonathan.
Stays on the track.
Jonathan.
Jonathan, they're not the rules of engagement. Why are you gaslighting the world, Jonathan?
He's forced him out there. That's why we asked him to give back
Lewis
all of
has
the advantage.
left the track and...
Yeah, because Max didn't leave him track room, and that's not the rules of engagement, Jonathan. Audi have just given you a job as team principal, haven't they, Jonathan? Do Audi know anything about this sport, and what are they doing employing a corrupt man? Well, I call you a man, you're not a man. A corrupt individual like you.
Oh, you told him to give back all the advantage?
All the advantage was already given back prior to the first lap ending.
Oh, I'm not sure we agree, but understood.
Oh, I'm not sure we agree, Jonathan. Jonathan?
No problems.
So in the eyes of the stewards then, Lewis Hamilton slowed down enough to give back some of the extra meters that he gained.
Steady on. Remember, Jonathan, you don't have to let him go right around the track, and then we have a motor race on our hands.
When he went off the track, and that was fair, as race director Michael Massey, that was fair in their opinion. 1.5 seconds now, the gap.
Well, I call these things as I see them. Doesn't seem to matter whatever you say. One of the teams is unhappy with you, but
But I guess, Martin, that's normally on a wet day in Belgium.
I don't see that the gap was the same.
Where they give Max Verstappen a win when it's just a parade.
Okay, mate, so just get your head down. No investigation on the shortcuts or the advantage that he's gained.
Yes. No malice or vitriol in the message that we're sending to the fans to incite the strap-on fanboy. F1 TV chosen to play this message, even though Max Verstappen crowded Lewis Hamilton off the track, and therefore it's a 5-second penalty minimum to Max Verstappen. But let's actually gaslight everybody into putting all the blame on Lewis Hamilton rather than penalise Max Verstappen for crowding another vehicle off the track, because that's the true offence going on here.
And in terms of gaps, so let's just get on with this and win it on track, mate.
That is incredible.
It is incredible that they allowed you to get away with everything all season, Max. How many offences? How many penalty points? You shouldn't have even been driving in this race. You should have had a ban this season.
What are they doing there?
Because they
Giving you the championship. That's what they're doing, Max.
were side by
But you'll be the victim, Max. You'll be the victim. Poor Max, everybody. Let's all learn to play the violin.
side when the incident happened, and even into the braking zone. So I don't think the gap was ever given back, but that's what the stewards have decided. They're the referees, And I think that's wise advice there to young Max Verstappen in terms of, right, don't get angry, get even, get on, you know, just focus on the race ahead now.
Well, we wondered, didn't we, was it going to be turn one where Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton potentially came together? We lasted 6 corners until they came together. Our first controversial moment of this race, and possibly not the last either.
You couldn't make it up. You couldn't predict it, could you, Crofty? You couldn't predict that there might be more controversy in this race. Crazy shit.
As Hamilton takes to the runoff area, stays ahead of Verstappen. The stewards say no investigation, no penalty to be applied. Now,
yeah, somebody taking to the runoff area and staying ahead. No investigation, no penalty. I wonder where we saw that before. Oh, there it is. Somebody taking to the runoff area, no investigation, no penalty. I wonder what the stewards will think about that. Oh, it's Max Verstappen. No investigation necessary. Just like the French Grand Prix, where he didn't follow the race director's notes, and because he'd gone to the right-hand side of that initial bollard, didn't follow the director's instructions of going through the array of bollards to rejoin the track in the correct manner. Once again, stewards, no investigation necessary. This is Max. We don't investigate Max. Let them race, we call that, says new Audi team principal Jonathan Wheatley. Where were we?
now we can get back on with the racing.
Yeah, critically, the stewards
Yes, because we're real motor racing fans and everybody wants to see a racing finish.
feel that because Max slid sideways, he pushed Lewis out of play. But look at that, the Red Bull of Verstappen just barely moved initially, did it? It bogged down on him. And there is then Perez taking third place as Lando Norris goes wide, comes back in, doesn't gain any advantage. And you can see Bottas falling behind the Ferrari as well.
Got squeezed a bit, didn't he?
Really, really low revs there for Lewis in the Mercedes and just took off. 10th of a second better on the reaction time. Just about finds enough grip. And look at that lovely space in front of him. So, yeah, I'm going to call it the same way. I think Max has got in there. He's got into the apex. He stayed within the white lines of the racetrack. And look at the...
They're not the rules, Martin. The rule is you're not allowed to crowd your opponent off the track. If you're attempting an overtake, you have to leave them track room. Max Verstappen didn't leave track room. Had Lewis Hamilton have not left the track, he would have been ran into. There would have been a collision, Martin. I mean, you as the sports expert at that stage, you'd been the expert of the sport for at least 28 years, was it? Was it 38 years? Who knows? 10 years as a driver, 28 years as the presented expert. 38 years, Martin. 38 years. And you've forgotten the rules of engagement of the sport. But you're validating Max, aren't you? Funny that. It must be all this British bias.
gap Lewis has pulled out front there, so I'll stand by that, but that's not what the stewards think.
This is the view from Lewis Hamilton's cockpit as he sees Max Verstappen coming at him at a rate of knots. But it is...
That'd be the key, Crofty. Coming at him. So that's not a valid way of overtaking, driving your car at the other car, and either they jump out of the way or we crash. That's what you do if we don't. That's what happens if you don't leave room. Oh, no, it's not that incident. You end up on somebody's head when you say that.
Very much like Brazil. There was no penalty given in Brazil for that turn 4 incident. Max Verstappen...
Absolutely right, Crofty. And Saudi as well, when there was the turn 1 incident. 2 of them. Running Lewis off the track in the same thing, where if he'd not jumped off the track, there would have been a collision. How about that one where he re-entered the track in an unsafe manner, causing Lewis Hamilton to have to deviate his line to avoid a collision, allowing Esteban Ocon through? That was in Saudi as well. And let's not talk about the brake test. The black flag incident, which wasn't a black flag. We call that let them brake test each other.
Lunged late on that day, and the stewards on that day decided that it was a fair move. What they've decided here...
The stewards decided it was a fair move in Brazil. Kids, don't listen to the stewards. It's not a fair move. You'll kill somebody if you do something like that. Do you want to kill somebody? You shouldn't want to do that. You should have respect for your fellow human being. Not Max Verstappen, though. Not Max Verstappen.
Once again, it was a fair move from Verstappen. Hamilton.
A fair move from Verstappen. We've just established that it wasn't.
Gave enough time back, so it was a honours even at the end of the skirmish.
But the door was open and he drove through it, and he stayed on the racetrack. It wasn't, and he was leery in Saudi Arabia last weekend when he arrived sideways and out of control. And Lewis made an attempt, and that's why Max had to give the place back. And Lewis came back on the track within the corner and made a reasonable effort, having been pushed out of the way, to get on the track.
Ted Kravitz, very good evening to you.
Thanks for that, Martin. Who are you validating? Where's your British bias, Martin?
No, Crofty, I didn't think it was going to get this controversial this early. Hello, Martin. Hello, everyone.
No, you expected the controversy later on, didn't you, Ted? When there might be another tyre twist, Crofty.
Didn't know, but
surely not.
Looking down from where I am in the pit lane across to the Red Bull pit wall, Christian Horner might as well have steam coming out of his ears. I understand he's been on the radio speaking directly to the race director, Michael Massey, to put his point of view. Maybe we'll hear from him in a second of what he had to say, but this...
I wonder if we'll hear from Christian.
This is a result of Brazil with the FIA not clamping down on these things. When you start to leave interpretation into it rather than a hard and fast rule, you get situations, confusing situations.
Oh, well, we're talking about interpretation, aren't we? I mean, any doesn't mean all. We're already talking about interpretation, and it's only lap, what is it, about 4 or 5? But we're still talking about the lap 1 incident. We've already started talking about what we're going to say in the stewards' appeal, which is correct.
There would have been clear-cut in the past decisions.
On board.
Yeah, in the past. What's changed from the past to now have decisions that, it's all about whether you can argue, whether you're allowed into the stewards' appeal and present a corrupt version of the regulations.
Charles Leclerc is currently running 6th, but while we watch from the cockpit of the Ferrari, let's head down to the Red Bull pit wall. Christian Horner is with us. Christian, please, your reaction to the no action by the stewards.
We need a miracle. We need some help from the racing gods.
We're a little bit shocked at that because apparently...
Don't be shocked, Christian. I mean, you expect miracles, so you shouldn't be shocked by Max running somebody off the track.
Lewis gave his
That's par for the course.
Advantage back, which we've failed to see yet. So, as you can imagine, we're not best pleased.
Is this what goes around comes around, Christian, with turn 4 Brazil and into some first corners in earlier races?
No, it's a total lack of consistency. So,
indeed, Christian, it's a total.
We're disappointed.
Steady on. Total lack of consistency. Absolutely right, Christian. No consistency whatsoever, because every other time a car has left the track and maintained position, it's always been made to give that position back. Absolutely right, Christian. Thanks for your valuable insight. Let me know what you think in the comments section, Christian. You're still going, Christian?
With it, but focus on the race now, and we've got to do it.
Christian.
Yeah, you've got to do it the hard way, but you've got a contingency plan that kicks in with about 10 or 11 laps to go. Okay, if Lewis is in the lead, we've got the contingency, okay? We've got it all planned out. And as soon as the Sky Sports get on the blower to me, and I tell them that we need some help from the racing gods, we need a miracle. There'll be some tyre narrative going on. One car might get a slow puncture, and then there'll be the speculation whether, will Lewis's tyres last to the end of the race, and then it'll all kick off then, and Max's much fresher tyres will fire up once you've played your clever cards.
Christian, there will be a lot of people watching Formula One for the first time ever.
That you can lie to and they won't know.
When they're presented with a no action for one incident, no action for another, they'll find it hard to believe that's a total lack of...
Yeah, that's it. No action for Silverstone, no action for Brazil, no action for Saudi, no action for France, no action for Imola, no action for Monza, There's probably more. Probably more.
Consistency.
Well, you know, the race director made it very clear before the race that you had to stay within the white lines. Max did that. You know,
Oh, he made that very clear before the race. Did he talk to you about crowding your opponent off track? Did he clarify the crowding the opponent off track and whether you get a 5 or 10 second penalty for that, Christian?
Lewis gained an advantage by going off track. He didn't.
Lewis avoided a collision. Lewis avoided being taken out on the first lap of the deciding Grand Prix of the season, where he had to contend with that kind of behaviour going unpunished all season. And you want to make Lewis Hamilton the villain in this, don't you, Christian?
Conceded. He didn't give anything back, so that was our position. But anyway, we're focused on the race and still a long way to go.
Absolutely right, Christian. Still a long way to go. And you're keeping them clever cards close to your chest at this moment in time.
Thanks ever so much for joining us. We appreciate your instant reaction there. That's while we were talking to Christian, we saw Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll having a race all by themselves. 14th for Vettel, 15th for Stroll.
Go ahead.
Michael?
F1 TV are still talking about it. I mean, go ahead. What lap are we on now? I'm losing track.
And that was...
We're on lap 7 of 58 now, and let's go back and have a look on track of you. Who's on the blower to Michael? Lap 7 of 58.
Stand it. That was a hard, aggressive pass by Max, but...
Oh, it's Jonathan. Michael, it's your friend Jonathan. We call that let them race. That was what you said in Brazil, wasn't it, Jonathan? Oh. When in Brazil, we let them race. When in Abu Dhabi...
But Max stayed fully on the track and he was ahead at the apex. He did everything...
Max drove 3 car widths off the track, forced Lewis Hamilton to be on his outside, and had Lewis Hamilton even attempted to turn in and stay on the track, there would have been a massive crash. But we call that let them race, Michael. Thanks for that, Jonathan. Great interview for Audi, that is.
Right, he stayed on the track. At some point...
Makes a change for Max to stay on the track, actually. Well done you, Max. Everybody give Max a round of applause. Max finally managed to remain on the track, okay? Maybe them stabilisers will work in this race. Who knows? Let me know what you think in the comments section.
The second car has to back out.
Jonathan, the stewards have reviewed it and determined that all of the lasting advantage was gained.
Jonathan, you little bitch, you've got to realise that Max crowded him off the track, and Max should be the one that's getting at least a 5-second penalty. You're getting away scot-free. You're projecting the blame on Lewis Hamilton. You're inciting your fanboys. Now shut the F up. I'm not going to say that because then it just makes me just as bad as young Maxwell Verstappen. Shut the beep up, Jonathan.
And that Max forced that position there, so... Yeah,
Max forced that position there. Michael, can you explain that? Is that crowding off the track? Do you want to reword that, Michael? Talk us through that one again, Michael.
Jonathan, the stewards have reviewed it and determined that all of the lasting advantage was gained, and that Max forced that position there, so they've said...
Max forced him off the track is what you're trying to say there, Michael. I know you struggled to say it, but yeah, Max forced him off the track. Oh, that's called crowding. Let's look at who got penalised throughout the 2021 season for crowding their opponent off the track and got 5-second penalties for it. Sorry, that would make the video too long. There's too many examples I can give. But not Max. Max wasn't one of those people that got the penalty points or the time penalties. Anyway.
Said that they have reviewed it but are not investigating it.
Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton now 2 seconds out in front from Verstappen, Perez, Sainz, Norris, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Bottas, Ocon and Ricciardo. We've got 3 world champions with us on Sky Sports F1 this weekend. Damon Hill, Jenson Button and Nico Rosberg. Nico, what's the champion's view?
Oh my goodness, so difficult. I think it's okay what they've done. Max was a little bit too lungy and too aggressive, forcing Lewis out too strongly, even though he had
Crowding him off the track is what you're looking for, Nico.
the right to the corner there because he was massively ahead, but still. And then I would also say, though, that Lewis didn't give back everything that he gained.
No, because he's been crowded off the track, and what he's done is avoided being ran into, he's avoided a collision, and therefore shouldn't lose track position as a result of avoiding a collision. So what he's done, he's taken a smooth line back on track, which was the line that he took. Had he tried to do anything else, he'd have been massively disadvantaged, and you should not be disadvantaged when another car just drives their car at you and you are made to jump out of the way. Quite simple.
So there's it's tough, but I think it's okay like this.
It's not tough, it's quite easy to explain.
Yeah, I tend to agree with what Nico said.
Nico with the British bias.
I think when you look at it back, you have to say that Lewis had to basically move out of the way because otherwise he's going to collide with
Absolutely right, Damon. Lewis had to move out the way.
With Max, who made a very uncompromising, very late lunge, which left no room for Lewis to make any accommodation. He had to leave the track. But I have to say,
Lewis had to leave the track because there was no room for him on the track. Absolutely right, Damon. What you've got to say, Damon?
I am surprised they didn't say give the place back because.
Why? Why are you surprised about that? Because you've just explained that Max made a late lunge and didn't leave him any room. So why has he got to give any place back if you're taking evasive action?
Yeah, totally. I actually agree with you, Damon. It was a very late.
Oh, here he is, the racing snake himself, Jenson Button. He agrees with Damon. Oh, it's all these Brits with all the bias. So Damon's been able to say that that Lewis was forced off the track. But he thinks that Lewis needs to give that place back. Oh, he has to give that place back. He has to give that place back. Say all the strap-on fanboys. But Jenson, which part of Damon's analysis do you agree with, Jenson?
Lunge, but it was always going to happen. Lewis knew he was coming.
Lewis knew that Max was going to drive his car at him. I wonder why Lewis might know that. Is it because that's happened on multiple occasions this season and been enabled?
And he pushed Lewis off the track, I guess, but he stayed on the track. And
he pushed Lewis off the track, but it's okay to do that if you stay on the track. No, Damon, not Damon. What's his name? Forgot. Jenson, there he is. Jenson, that's not the rules, mate. There's lots of examples throughout the season where a car crowded another car off the track and they remained on track. That doesn't make it okay, okay? Surely as a former Formula One world champion, Damon, why do I keep calling him Damon? Jenson, you'd know that. You'd know that, Jenson. If you crowd another car off the track and you remain on track, right, then you've still crowded them off the track. The fact that you've remained on track doesn't mean, oh, that's fine. I stayed within the right lines, even though I fucked him off the track. Because I stayed within the white lines, it's all fine. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. I think what it is, I think you're that surprised that Max actually stayed on the track that all of a sudden you're like, oh, he's finally stayed on the track. We've got to give him some reward for that. We've got to give this kid a lollipop or something as a reward for doing that.
I'm struggling to understand the regulations right now because of.
Absolutely right, Jenson. You are struggling to understand the regulations, which is surprising, really, considering you're a former Formula One world champion and employed by Sky Sports F1 to be one of their experts, but you're struggling to understand the regulations. I would say you're not fit to do the job, really. But let me know what you think in the comments section, Jenson.
Obviously, in Brazil, there was no penalty, but they both.
Yeah. There was no penalty in Brazil. Why would you not penalise Max for that?
Drove off the circuit.
Oh, because they both drove off the circuit. Oh, yeah, okay. So because Lewis Hamilton once again had to jump out the way and had nowhere to go and had to go off the circuit to avoid a collision, because he went off the circuit because Max couldn't stay on the circuit, oh, that's fine. No penalties for anybody there. But if Lewis is forced off and Max can finally keep it within the white lines, that's fine. That's fine, is it? That's Lewis's fault. That's Lewis's fault that Max forced him off the track.
Whereas Max stayed on the track this time.
Gentlemen, thanks ever so much. I think Jos Verstappen's also struggling to come to terms with this. He just walked out the back of the Red Bull garage.
Yeah, Jos Verstappen, another Formula One racing driver. I would say world champion, but he wasn't. He can't understand it either. Although Jos, he had the same kind of driving style as Max. He liked to crash.
As Hamilton continues then on lap 8 in the lead of this race. We've had a big controversial moment, and we'll be talking about this, I'm sure, for a long time to come.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you will be talking about it for a long time to come. You'll be asking Christian about this when Christian's asking for his miracle.
Let's park that for now. What's interesting here is Lewis Hamilton actually has a little bit more pace as well, despite Verstappen being on the softer tyre. We thought.
Now, we all want a motor race on our hands, don't we? And I'm looking at this at the moment, and I'm not seeing much of a race. I mean, this guy being back here, this red dot, and this guy being here, this green dot, that's not much of a race, is it? You know, what kind of a race is that when somebody's got a lead of how long's he in the lead by? Let's have a look.
Faster for.
Oh, he's 13.7 seconds behind. That's not a motor race. Look, nobody's going to like this. This isn't a proper motor race because one guy's beating the other by over 10 seconds. That's not a motor race, is it? No, we can't have that. That's not a motor race, okay? Real motor racing fans want to see a motor race, don't they? They're not interested in one car beating another one by over 10 seconds because that's not real racing, is it? Okay, so let's look, we need to do something about this because you can see... It's clear for everyone to see. This is not a race, is it? It's not a race. He's in the lead by over 10 seconds. So what we've got to do, we'll have to throw a safety car, we'll have to get them all back together again, and then, well, let's just have a shootout. In fact, let's not bother with a Grand Prix distance. Let's not bother racing over 312 kilometres or whatever. That's boring. Let's forget that. The fans won't, the kiddies won't like that, okay? What we want is a grandstand finish instead, right? And so we'll forget the race. We'll forget any of these gaps that are being built up. We'll forget that, you know, these racers are demonstrating their skill over the duration of a Grand Prix. Nobody wants to see that, okay? We just want to see a racing finish, don't we? Because that's the most important part. It's nothing about, you know, building a lead, using your craft and using your skill and managing your tyres over the duration of what is essentially a marathon rather than a sprint. Let's not do that, okay? Let's just forget the rules and let's just bunch everybody up and let's have a shootout. Everybody up for that? Let me know what you think in the comments section. Anyway, let's just go back and let's just check. Let's just check. Yep. He was fully off the track there. He's got to give that place back. You'll have Jonathan Wheatley on the radio sometime soon, won't you? You'll have Jonathan Wheatley on there. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Right, more to come on Abu Dhabi soon. And we'll talk through the tyre narrative a bit and what everybody's still missing that proves the narrative. Thank you for your time.